Happy Chaos Tuesday, everybody. It is indeed chaos. And we're in chaos, but they always say if it wasn't for chaos, then there wouldn't be creation. Eh, anyway, welcome everyone. So good to see all of you. I made up a word there by combining two words into one.
Or
But Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, it's word magic, right? So if
yeah,
you're here, we thank you. You have fulfilled your destiny for the day as I get everything ready to pull out and we will get rolling. We just want to speak favor over all of us because we all need it. We need it
yeah,
particularly now.
yeah.
And as we like to say, peace. Peace can be defined as nothing missing, nothing broken. And we speak that here all the time. And the reason why we do is that, well, we create what we speak, right? Abacadabra.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the best part of this whole shit show is not knowing that we might be able to really have some beautiful effect in it.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
agree. So,
hmm
Jenny, I think it's loading. The program is, she'll be in here. She's here, but she went out of here, but she'll be back here. So, yeah. And
She's
it's
busy too. Oh goodness.
relative to what here is, but anyway, hello everyone in the chat room. I want to address something before we get too much along here. So in yesterday's comments, and Draco, I'm speaking to you because I felt it was necessary as opposed to just writing this. So the yesterday I talked a little bit about the Holocaust Museum, what that event did to mankind. Now, here I go by a simple philosophy. Everyone has a right to their opinion. I support that. And even if I find your opinion offensive and insulting, and Draco, what I found offensive was that when you make the comment that the Holocaust never happened and that the Holocaust Museum is nothing more than propaganda, that's really insensitive, dude. It really is. Now, I appreciate you if you've unsubscribed, well, that's your prerogative. But in my comment, I said that your comment was the epitome of hate. And this is why. Regardless of whether you believe that event happened or didn't, I can tell you it did. Your source is wrong and you are wrong. And despite the fact that you have every right to believe what you are, but believe what you want, but when you make a statement like that, you're negating the deaths of over 12 million. It wasn't just the Jews. It was gypsies. It was free thinkers, people like us. They went to those camps. I personally knew Grandma Rose. Everyone here is very much. Her and her sister were survivors of the Nazis wanted was simply the Nazis wanted was simply they wanted to eliminate the very memory of the Jews, their God, everything about that. And so that is hatred in the ultra extreme. Now, I
Yeah.
appreciate you. I thank you for, your support for all the years, but that was one. And as I told you in the comment, there's sometimes you should use discretion because whether you believe it or not, you should be mindful and mature enough
So
that,
should
guess
you.
what? Yeah, there is a lot and your words were painful for me. They hurt me because it was so insensitive. So, Draco, that is the point to that. If y'all want to catch up, you can go and read the comments yourself. But I felt that that was important enough that because we're on the precipice of repeating those same mistakes. The world today is on the precipice of World War III. There's never been a more intense time. This is eclipsing, I think, even the Cuban Missile Crisis, of which I was 5 years old. But I do remember my grandfather sitting right there in the den. He's watching NBC News, and we were waiting for Kennedy to push the button. So, ladies, welcome. And I want us to speak peace with all of us because, there are some things that, well, that should just, like I said, when you have thoughts like that, it's more wisdom to say, I don't need to say this. So, ladies, how are you? Good. What's that, dear?
When we look at, just we want peace, speak peace, favor, and peace. 30 monks prayed over the most toxic water in the world for 30 days and made it drinkable. When people pray over certain areas that are, ridden with crime and violence, when they meditate peace only, basically peace, it changes the statistics. So I think that's the strongest focus we could have at this time is to really focus on that.
Yeah, I said that we will, well, in fact, we'll go into our force, but we are going to take a minute, maybe two, and just think peace, goodwill, kindness, um, unity. We need to come against, there are powerful forces, ladies, that, wow, that they want to see war. They don't want to see peace.
Mm-mm.
It's often said there's no profit in peace, whereas with
Mhm.
war, there's great fortune to be made.
I think so.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I'm getting a mixed signal in my comment thing there, but there's so many weird things going on. The internet, everything else. So, yes.
But
Jenny, how are you, dear? What's that,
yeah,
Trina?
I said, I think everybody's feeling this shift. Something has
Oh,
shifted.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
shifting. Hi, Jenny. Mm,
Hi, beautiful. Hey.
mm,
Hey, I'm getting hot, but not, I'm burning up a bit. So if I start stripping off,
Jenny has a fever, everyone, so we
yeah,
just need to
yeah,
aw,
surround her
yeah.
with healing and
I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think I've been getting more poorly up until the fever. I feel like the fever's breaking something now, and you get a fever break. So I felt more achy leading up to today than I do today with the fever. So take what you will. I'm taking it in stages, that's all. But plenty of vitamin C, so I'll be good. I'll be good.
there you
It,
go.
it's crazy. And speaking peace. I had a lot of deep visions today because I was carving today, and that's a space I can go into dangerously. So, as you all know, with my fingers, they've been the brunt of many vision quests while I've been carving. And, thinking about where we're at, and a soldier's heart or a warrior's heart, a spiritual warrior, a trooper of any kind that would forfeit um, the finite, being this life as it is, or living this life maimed as it is, has the heart to throw themselves over a bomb in front of the feet of those that bomb would befall, that would harm, sacrifice, and sometimes for spiritual warriors, it takes a delicate balance between speaking out what you have consciously observed or what you're observing, and maybe potentials of how we spiral ourselves out of what we're observing, and also doing that in a delicate way isn't a weakness. It is that soldier's heart. You're willing to envelop very strong feelings you have over one something, yourself, as a soldier's body would over something in the ground in front of its own other troops. Um, and that takes a lot of inner strength. It takes a lot of inner wisdom to sometimes swallow the words that, as poignant as they might be, as true to you as they might be, they don't serve the space for the greater good. They don't serve the fellow man and woman on either side of you. And taking on those words of your own sometimes is the most painful thing to envelop on behalf of others. But I think that's a space where we have to be in our wisdom and be practicing careful. Freedom doesn't mean taking away. For me, freedom doesn't ever come into taking a strike at those that have suffered already. There's no point in that to me. There's no sense in that to me. There's no growth in that for me. So I agree with what you say. It's sometimes that necessary, wise, evil yet long-term benefit to envelop your own words the same way any one of us would for one another faced with something in front of us. So,
But your fan club said you're always hot.
yeah, that's it, listen. I could cook an egg on me today.
Yeah, I love that. And that, that's where we can inject humor because, it's dicey out there. It's like the picture that I showed that Colleen sent, there's even something going on in our galaxy that, you know, something big happened there. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I look at today and there is there seems to be a deliberate effort, and I can't help but not think I was dreaming last night, and I can tell you there's chaos in the ethereal realms right now. There's
There's so
something very unsettling going on. Um, and that tells me that if it's impacting the spiritual realm, that only can indicate, this is my opinion, something big is about to be birthed.
there's so many different sides invoking religions that have become very strong magic, and they're all invoking
They are
the
magic.
story on all different sides, but they've become very entrenched, very grand, great magic in everybody's eyes and minds because they literally are entrenched in the systems we live in. And there are places and people from all sides of every aisle calling on and invoking biblical times, so to speak. It's something we've kept hearing over the last few years again. And that gets played on repeat because we are invoking something that really doesn't need to be invoked. Even the seas are opening up and swallowing water, it seems. Um, so yeah, we
There's
are
a lot.
invoking.
And like I said, to me, this feels, I've seen governments change, and within our government, I was deeply involved in politics. Got delivered of that. Can I get a hallelujah? But anyway. By the way, I keep recommending this, and if you get HBO or Max, you should really check out the series, The Gemstones. I mean, it's a satire about, the extremes of Christians, and particularly the way I come out of, to me, to be a Christian meant that you needed to be rich because that's what God did. He physically blessed you, and yeah. How many of you remember uh Jim and Tammy?
Oh yeah, Tammy
Oh yeah,
Faye.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Jim and Tammy
Yeah.
Baker. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
and
Baker. Yeah, Faye Baker. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And Paul Crouch over at Trinity Broadcasting Network.
I see. I'm
Um,
terrible with names, Wayne, but if I saw their faces, I'd be like, "Yep, I know that one. Yep,
yeah.
yeah." But I just the name things. I'm terrible with the name thing. Yeah.
And it shocked me. It really did. It was awakening because here I thought I was doing God's work. I was bringing a change to the body of Christ, and that this new mobile application was the future. I went to more church council meetings and was called an agent of the Antichrist, Satan himself, because I was bringing in this mobile payment system. And the thing about the mobile payment system was it was designed primarily to stop the fraud. In American churches, there's over $10 billion stolen by primarily, you know who the number one Christmas? Those days brought in as much as to $5 million cash.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And so anyway,
I
and
always remember being sat down to look at Kenneth Copeland's
oh,
multiple
Kenneth is, the
novels.
same way. It's how do you
So
think he
does
bought that
I.
fucking,
So does
you know,
Steiger.
a citation 10? $27 million, I tell you.
Yeah.
But my point was that
Strange.
I was in the midst of all those televangelists, these huge churches,
Mhm.
and you know what? Um, I was in one who is on the Trump administration now. I sat in her living room, and the comment was made, it's not about winning of souls, it says how much can we get the take in. So you've got, and it taught me something. It taught me that there is this God that is not seen, not recognized, and this God will only allow those who commit to it. And this is not God of the Bible. This is not Jesus. This is a different God. And that
Franchise.
God will make you rich. But you know what that God requires?
Prosperity God.
It requires their congregation.
Mhm.
Yeah. Heavy shit. And I contend it's the same thing we're seeing now with Trump. Trump has declared that he is the messenger of God. He's declared that his life was spared by God.
Mhm.
And you can see that the upside downness of everything that's happening on the world stage Friday was a shocker to the whole world. It was like, well, what the hell was that about?
Hmm.
Um, and what concerned me was over the weekend, Jenny, your prime minister, basically committed, it was interesting. He committed 2.3 billion pounds, but it won't be deliverable until 2027.
When
But
he's
then
claimed attention. And
I'm going,
then
2027, the war is going to be over by then. But there was a commitment
techno.
that if the U.S. did not fulfill or do whatever they want, that they were going to be sending your sons and daughters to the front lines in Ukraine.
Like hell they were, but yes, that's what they were attempting to fearmonger
That's
people into.
crazy.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, no, hashtag not my prime minister. I happen to reside in the country, foolish enough to,
Yeah.
employ this
Yeah.
still. So, and many people are like that. But again, it swings round in roundabouts in that these people, there's such a 3 second consciousness, a 3 second memory, because the same people who are in outrage about this right now are right now saying, they've jumped to the other camp. There's just hopping lambs everywhere, jumping from one side of the fence to the other, depending on which leader, whichever side of the pond, says whatever spouts out of their mouth. Meanwhile, one leader's got one arm behind the back and the other one's got the other arm behind the back. Then they do a John Cena on each other and they've all got two people behind the back. So none of them represent me or my children. And so what we've got here is this guy there's no recourse for him. There'll be no comeback a week down the time because 3 days later from when he first said that, there's people hop, skipping and jumping. It's like, oh no, he's upset us now. So people who were really pleased with somebody called Vance over your side of the pond in this country, oh yes, men in charge. Yes, you could hear alpha men, not omega men, roaring like pussycats around the UK, and then all of a sudden he presumably insults our troops who helped your troops out. So they're jumping again back to the other lamb's fence and saying, oh, boo, boo, hiss, America. And it's like, come on, have some integrity, please, people. Otherwise, everybody's children are going to be going off to war or
That's what I
stopping.
mean. It's the whole let's keep everybody fighting so, people will feel justified in their causes to do horrible things. And somehow
Yeah.
we have to evolve beyond this thought process. It's
Yes.
ridiculous. Nobody wants their kids to go into battle.
No.
Nobody. So how can we get this to stop? I mean, it's not going to come through anybody but us. I mean, it can't.
Yeah.
I did, but nobody wants this. And we've done
I
it
went into
over and over
meditation on
again.
this because it's weighing on me. I can sense it. And if there's anyone else that can sense this, um, when I go into my place, it's not the calm and peaceful place that I know that I find refuge in. There is an uneasiness. There is tremendous ebb and flows of energies. And to me, that signifies as below, so above, as above, so below. And Trina, you pointed this out that, all right, so what's the greater influence here? Theirs or ours? What
It's
makes their
ours, but we
influence?
don't believe it because we don't believe that we have power.
Yeah,
We're under a freaking spell, Wayne.
thank you.
Gosh, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. But it's like I keep thinking about that because it's on my heart too. It's big, it's huge.
Yeah,
And I'm like, it really doesn't take as many as we think to make a huge impact. And these are what we're going to really have to do. We're going to have to focus on what we want to see, not what they're telling us the vision to see. We're
yeah.
going to have to be the greatest front. And people that are confused with their religions, the governments, all of it,
We're
you
finding,
got to tap into what you want to see. It's huge.
maybe answer this for me, ladies. And yeah, I know I really do have favor because I have two goddesses here, but I see a lot of
Mhm.
goddesses out there, Lauren, Gaia, and Deborah. Sorry, dudes, y'all ain't
Yes.
goddesses. You may be God, but no.
Yes. That.
Awaken us,
Yes.
though. You do awaken us, so
There
thank
is
you.
only two sexes, the biologically, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I digress on that. So here's what I found strange because it's these little things when for instance when I do dishes or when I'm cooking is when it seems like there's this another conversation going on and the next thing I know I have been dropped a little you know tidbit of like going, oh, I hadn't noticed that. So the thing about Trump, and hear me out on this, is that you see there's strong magic about this because he's pulling in people into the television that for many years, I know a couple that have been decades, but because of the magnitude of the changes, it's almost their feel they as they said they felt compelled to begin to watch, and they said, sure enough, as they began to watch the television, they said it was almost like they had never left and that spell immediately took over again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
They
real.
admitted that it's very difficult. They said it's like an addiction to a drug.
It is because it's how the brain is receiving its stimulus. And like I said, when you let your brain get lazy, you don't use it, you lose it. So so
That's
there
what we
is,
see with the Democrats. Okay. And
yeah.
many
So,
Republicans right along with
yep.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Um
then the television, literally, Wayne, there's science behind the
oh
television.
hell yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this is real, like you said, this is real magic. It's not like disputable. It's real magic. Strobing the eyes, subliminal programs, it's all there. So, I mean, it's a huge spell. Huge.
And what
So,
do y'all
yeah.
see as the end game? I mean, we can say, it's obviously, you have two scenarios, either the total collapse of civilized
What
Uh,
were the two wizards in the Bible that fought? And the one was all filled with the lower
yeah,
energy, and then the other one just slammed him to the ground and walked away like game over. What was
yeah,
that story? That's kind of what I'm seeing,
yeah.
that story.
Yeah. I mean, the prophet Elijah, he would just say something to you.
Yeah.
He was bald. And I think it's in Second Chronicles or there that of and any case, so he's walking on the road into Jerusalem, and there were three young people. You got the idea it was three men, young men, and they were making fun of him because he had a bald head. And so he said, this will be the last day that you will have a breath of your own. And as they walked away, he called to the forest and he said, that which growls, that which breaks bones, and basically he brought these bears and the bear ate the three guys.
Oh my gosh.
So that's a powerful wizard. You
That's
can
what I'm
say
saying.
prophet, but that's a wizard.
Now imagine if, okay, so in imagination land, totally metaphorical speaking, what if there were two intelligences on the planet, and when you go through a change of an age, the intelligence connection like breaks apart and the new one gets established. So it's going to be like Pisces and Aquarian. So it's a new, like a solar logos. It's a consciousness stream. So what if this is the battle between the consciousnesses right now? And they're trying to figure out what's going where. And like I said, what we bring about, we think about and feel about more than think about even. So if you could stay on track, you're going to start connecting to these energies that are higher. And I think that's probably what's happening. And a lot of people are doing this and they don't know. And that's why they're feeling this breaking off, and things are starting to, when you break away from something that's part of your internal technology system, it's going to rattle your cage.
Have you ever read Night World? F.
No.
Paul Wilson. Well, it's very
Mm-mm.
interesting, Miss Trina, as I was in your head, because what you were, it's easy. I mean, you know, it's like, it's like, get out of my head, man. No, I
Right.
like it. But anyway, you were describing F. Paul Wilson's book, and it's quite
Wow.
interesting because in Night World, you have Galen, who is he's a god, a demigod. He lives
Mm.
amongst the humans, but he is thousands of years old, and he's coming kind of at the end. The point is, there is not a god of good or evil. There's two consciousnesses that they really don't care. I
Mhm.
mean, what we do is what we do, but somehow or another, one got a little unbalanced, and so the plight of humanity was in that. But yeah, and if you want a great book, read it. You'll
Mm.
thank me. But let's get back to the where we are. Is that because Jenny, I want us to go into that forest. I tell you, I go there quite often, a lot of times. It
Mhm.
may be only just to stop in. I'm constantly adding to the scenery.
Foliage, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, because if a forest is living, it's in the ethereal realm. I love what the ethereal realm does. Anything's possible there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like it.
What
Oh.
Trina was saying just there is there's a thing of overlay here in the Pisces and Aquarius Pisces age. And that overlay will carry over what we speak about a lot here in the religious consciousness that we've got going on right now. What we're seeing now, I think Ginger said it in the chat to say, but there's a different intensity right now. And Gaia said, well, I'm not remote viewing right now. And if, I'm not either, Gaia, and I agree with where you are on that right now in particular. But there is this overlay of we've got this old consciousness, but with new capabilities, in that we've got a lot of people who maybe aren't in awareness of it, they're getting an old version of their God, but truly individualized to one side of a fence or to one point of view or one truth. And so we are going to live in the age of a further fractalized um, energy source of this old way of thinking, if that makes sense. So going into the forest and going in spaces of freedom, but secured safety, as in we would all throw ourselves even on our own words, on our own sword, so to speak, rather than take it in there where we meet in love and peace. Is more important than ever, I would say, as an intuitive right now. So I love that people are going in there and adding to it and breathing in that space because it's it, it's not an
We've lost
aggression.
something though. It's interesting, and maybe it's the technology,
We've
but
lost something.
I was a
Yes.
hippie. I mean, yeah, I've been on my own at 15, and we would have gatherings all the time, whether it was I lived in Houston in Miller Park or whether it was out in Peoples Park. Um, what I really missed is the spontaneousness of you'd have groups of people sitting, getting high, listening to music, but then everyone would start holding hands.
Yes.
And it was that brief wave of that sense of love, unity. You're my brother, you're my sister.
Mhm.
We may look different, but that's why I love you, is that we have that difference. And I wish we could reconnect to that spirit again. And maybe we can. Maybe we can call upon it. The younger generation has this opportunity to truly break through this, but I don't know if they can break through the technology. I think it's trapped them. I don't know.
Some will, some won't. They're gonna be both ways, but it's gonna go more. At first, it's gonna go more to the technology way, but then later, I think it's gonna balance the other way because it looks like a lot of the tech has maybe some issues with not being able to reproduce. So I don't know how that's gonna go with that. So it might get really weird with that, and there might have to be a balance to
Yeah,
hold
and
things
and
together.
having groups come together, we never had this mindset of where someone was going to commit an act of violence. That's the
Well,
reason
yeah,
why we came together as a group to rebuke that. We had the
right,
war that no one, listen, I was crapping in my pants as well. My birthday was the last year of the draft, but they were taking people who I knew they were going overseas and some never came back. I mean,
yeah.
and I was just thinking, with the youth today, because it seems like someone would want to capitalize it, someone would want to sponsor it, then you'd have to have the commercials, and then you're going to have to sell the trinkets and all the merchandise, and it completely blows the whole purpose of a spontaneous get together. The music's free. We're going to hold hands. We're going to do the thing that we did back in the 80s with Hands Across America. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, that's
Definitely.
what we need again. We technology has stole our soul and it has prevented us from connecting physically with one another.
But
Yeah.
we can do that in our imagination. And if enough of us do that in our imagination, it'll start to manifest on the planet.
Yeah,
It
well,
always
maybe
does.
someone will hear this that's really good in organizing because man, we need to do. Remember all the things that for instance, Live Aid.
Yes.
When
Hmm.
HIV was devastating,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just the homosexual community. I mean, it was spreading through everyone's genre of belief or practice or whatever. But the
Yeah.
point is, um, then we had the farmers here. Willie Nelson came
Farming.
together.
Yeah.
Farm Aid,
Yeah.
when and when it happens the first time is always the best time, and that's how I think. But
Yeah.
maybe,
It's a powerful energy when people start those
yeah,
kinds
it
of
is.
movements.
It
Yeah,
is.
it really
You know,
is. It
wouldn't
is
it be
quite a,
great to
yeah.
have a day like that where you form this human string that would literally go, let's say, Jenny in England, and you'd stop at the what is it, that ocean there, the channel. But see, that's where I see it. And Trina, you're right. It is mental because as we're speaking, I'm seeing this happening. I'm seeing this
Yeah.
map being
Yes.
populated by
Yes.
cutout figures, you
And
know?
and then we put limitations on things due to our physical bodies. So when
Yeah.
you know that you're building in the ethers, you don't need a string, a cord, anything. All you can do is you can build the web with a similar thought
Yeah.
and join all those thoughts into a cohesive idea of creation to support and manifest harmony and in humanity on the planet. Those are real things you can do that cause real waves because this is what we want. We want to start making some waves.
Well, I think that's a great cue. So Jenny, I'll let you start. I'll just also just put the invitation out there for all the gods, the goddesses, um, demigods, spirits, join us. I think people need to understand when you pass to the other side, you're going to have a job, you're going to have a mission.
Hmm.
It may be not to come back here, but
Hmm.
but something. But so we're just going to go in, Jenny, and I think Trina, as we unite the three of us because we see each other, they see us, but we can't see them.
Hmm.
You can really get into deep philosophy on that one, but anyway, I digress. Uh, how's
And
the
as
back of
the
the bus doing,
observer,
everybody?
but the observer is how we see each other in the astrals, I think, the observer part of us.
Yeah.
So we can all see each other through that part of us. Even though we might not have conscious of it, your observer is
Well,
watching.
we're on it. We're kind of like every day we get on this magic bus. And so as we go, I'd be curious if anyone wants to look out the window, maybe see what my view is. For me, it's like fucking Starship, Star Trek, it's just going by. I'm going, I think that's something, and the bus is rocking back there. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but I can smell it
Mhm.
up here, but anyway, Jenny, I made you smile.
Yeah, you did. All
Because
sorts of them.
I felt you, Jenny. I felt you actually in your mind, you're visualizing this bus.
Yeah,
And
I'm not
I
going to tell
swear
you
you were
because the
seeing
tattoo has told me.
Paisleys on,
Mhm.
laughter doeth the heart is a good medicine, my dear.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
just see the 420 smoke coming out of the back of that exhaust. That's the only thing
Yeah.
that seems to come out of that, the peace, love,
You ever
and
see Cheech and
transform.
Chong in that
Yes,
the
yes.
thing? That's what I
Oh,
think's going on back there. I swear,
it
you
is.
know?
Well, it is. I can tell you, amongst other things, it is. And I see it like that magic bus. And I often giggle when I think
Mhm.
it's part show and other people will say like the 420 to me. And I'm like, yeah, we're posting
Yeah,
out the
yeah.
back.
Well, the goddess
Follow us
stopped
by the
by and she
smell.
was stoned, man. She says, I don't
Yeah.
know what they're burning back there, but I can't,
Whoops, of many
Like I
kinds,
feel fine.
many kinds.
Ah, yes, yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Purple back
Um,
there. So,
mm-mm-mm.
so yeah, as we take those cleansing laughter breaks, with everything that being said thus far, this is a sacred space that we enter into, and we are not just one fractal of self, we are multiple fractals that make up a being. And connecting with one another, we make up multiples upon multiples of those beings. So we're allowed to take our clothes off at the door, so to speak, the labels, the things that would cause any kind of division, and agree upon an entry of love for one of another, and seeing each other do well in all lights. So as we make that agreement and compact with one another, we take a few cleansing deep breaths in. One, two, three, four. Out, two, three, four. Keeping that rhythm with each breath, relax each part of your body, every tissue membrane in your body. All of the nervous systems can relax and know that spirit is in control for now and our bodies are in a safe space. I'd like you to open your eyes in your third eye and imagine yourself walking through our dense, beautiful forest that has been growing over time. There are new things to smell and see. The air is thick of whatever it is that needs to make itself present to you. As you walk hand in hand, heart in heart with one another, call upon the fruits, the seeds, the foliage around you, the creation in there, the animal life. Call upon it with your spirit and ask whatever needs to be made present to you personally is made present for you to then take into your physical world. As you continue on with your breaths, feel yourself floating through a forest so full of moisture and growth and creation that you feel your spirit being invigorated with the grounding sense that you are part of a communion. You are part of a collective that has one goal in mind: to see your heart swell, to see your heart be so full of joy as you leave this place that you can hardly contain it, so that you can take it into the physical and let it spill out. Let your cup runneth over by perceiving one another now in this forest. With every breath, take in something of one another that you appreciate, that you give gratitude for, words that are used, feelings exchanged, energy exchanged and transmuted. Anything that you see, give gratitude for in that person and let them perceive you. For in the perception you become real, and your real love to one another is most strong in any realm. It is the only thing that we have that is true currency, that is exchangeable in any realm, here, there, and the thereafter. So as you take those breaths once again, call upon those things that made themselves a present to you in the beginning. Allow those things to carry over from your spirit into the physical, bringing you strength, bringing you renewal, bringing you rebirth. As you walk under the weeping willow that will exit us back into the physical plane, allow yourself to be present with one another. Give a smile and a nod to one another that will feed one another's energies and weeks going forward. So mote it be. And we're back.
Hmm. So it's interesting when you said, what was it? Cattails, I think is what you said.
Yes.
Anyway, so I was like walking and through the forest, and there was these faces of beings. They were coming out of billowing clouds, dark clouds, but didn't seem to be bothered. But um, found myself at a lake before you ever mentioned this, and there were
Uh,
wildflowers, that um, you can almost call them like bluebonnets and Indian paintbrushes, and just a mirrored purple too. Anyway, that's what I was seeing. A lot of fireflies.
Fireflies.
Yeah.
Wow. I saw all of us gathering and making holding hands, and we were like walking through the forest, and I was like more are coming, more are coming. I'm like, some are gonna be a little bit behind, so we're just gonna keep going until we gather more and more and more. And I kept seeing it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. So it's like not done.
Yeah, oh no, it's ever expansive. This is where we
Yes.
can be not the finite, not even the infinite, but the eternal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you
Mm-hmm.
know, in the fact that that forest is open to the likes of Theodore, who openly asks about it and is part of his meditation anyway, likes the forest. But yeah, it is the not the it surpasses the eternal. It goes into the constant. It not finite, it's infinite, expansive space that other people will find that don't even know us. They'll just consciously find a seed from one of us, any of us, a seed of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take them
That
straight
lake, by
back.
the way, is as smooth as glass. And you were talking, the two of you. I went back there, and it was weird because we're in this place now. Our energy is consolidating and coalescing. And so what I
Yeah.
saw when I looked into the lake was that in the sky, the word peace was sitting there.
Oh, that's beautiful. And
So
then you can see it in the mirror, Wayne. It can get in the mirror, which inverts it so it can get delivered down to earth.
yeah,
That's powerful,
that's
powerful, beautiful.
what I saw.
That's amazing. You know what I kept seeing too? Um, um, gathering all of our fractals into that place so we can unify with parts of ourselves and start to activate our ancient DNA and special abilities to bring forth to this new time. I literally saw we could use this as a place to gather more of what we are so we can remember more of what you are.
Trina, you've just broke a vision I had today of because I was collecting white willow, and you'll know that the willow, there's the twisted willow and white willow. So I was looking for healthy specimens. So I was looking at the bark, and the bark itself, the trunk itself, you want a mature trunk, but you want it like that because it's passing off generations upon generations of information in the small branches that you want for the inner bark of things, for holistic purposes. So a tree is constantly rebirthing itself. There's always fruits. It's not just the fruits, it's actually the twigs themselves. The old ones snap off and go to ground and mulch. So that information is cycling through it the whole time, and it's always there available for us as we consume it, meditate on it, and take up what that tree can give us over thousands of years. We're not doing that, but when we build spaces like this, we are doing that because when we're taking the time to go into, like Wayne said, the hand holding, the ethereal, through combined intent,
Mm.
then we are doing what the trees and the generations below us unfortunately aren't getting the chance and freedom to do right now. So where we can't have causality immediately in the physical to go against all of that, we can revert back into spirit where it all starts anyway and do that.
I'd like for us just to take a minute. You just triggered the idea. I wanted to bring this up. So those of you that are here, let's close our eyes again and then let's project in each of our imaginations that you're holding the hands of someone. In this case, I'll be standing between Trina and Jenny, but at the same time, I can see Courtney there. I can see Scotty Boy. So if all of us we can take 60 seconds, maybe two
Mhm.
minutes, and just feel the energy. Since we're in this virtual world, let's start using the energy of the virtual world.
Yes,
All
it's
right.
it.
So uh, let's just everyone just take that deep breath and just imagine the person and reach out how you would hold someone's hand, grab a hold of their hand. And when you grab a hold of their hand, does it feel warm? Can you feel the energy pulsating? Can you feel yours in your hand? And then I want everyone to look to the left and just see how the line never ends. There'll be people watching this video later that will be here. They're not here now, but we see them. And then turn to your right. And remember, we're still in the forest. You may want to be around the lake. I don't know. And just feel the person to your right. Is their hand smooth? Is the palm wide? Is it narrow? Can you feel the energy? Is it male? Is it female? Can you sense others looking behind us, seeing us doing this? So as we hold each other's hands and think of that energy, invite the spirits, the goddesses, the gods, We invite you to come join with us. And as that energy begins to flow, whether it be from the right to the left to the right, you're a conduit. Just add your piece to it. Speak whatever you see that would bring that same effect to another human being who doesn't even know us. And we can begin to channel this energy. Even when we leave here, this energy is now here. It's like a serpentine rope. And as the more of us join, holding each other's hand, the more this energy begins to undulate itself. And so we just project this energy back into the earth. Where there's division, we speak unity. Where there is hatred, we speak love. Where there is a lack of compassion, we speak empathy. And we come against the strife. We come against the division. And as our energy flows through us, this is what that energy will be. I almost see it as an energy field created by each and every one of us. And as we part today, you'll still walk away with an extension. And we can put ourselves back here at any time, at any place, anywhere. That's all I have. Jenny, your hand's damn hot.
Mhm.
So hot. It's so hot. Wow.
And before we leave the space, we will close down the energy.
Yes, that's
Yes,
Trina. Why don't you take us out of that?
I think it's that quick just to make sure it's closed. We're good. Yeah. Of like whatever you do, bouncing from place to place, always do like a start and a stop because it keeps everything great in the consciousness. Sometimes if you leave things open, it can mess with you for a while until you realize and close.
Spiritual STDs. Nobody wants spiritual STDs. Me and Gaia and you multiple
Who
times.
was it was it Bonnie who was saying that she's a germaphobe? Well, that's a great thing about in the ethereal. You know? You know?
I love you guys. Oh my gosh, you were just so right. Right there. You get it. I mean, you just get it. I love it.
Yes, 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 yes. And that was
Right.
powerful. I was actually feeling that for, and at one point I could just feel this. It's like you're almost
A
on a,
wave.
yeah, it was this, yeah.
I could
Yeah.
feel all of you guys, but I had laughed at one point because I jumped somehow on Trina's shoulders. Trina crouched down. I did like a frog leap onto your shoulders, and I we're just running through the
That
crowd
is
at that point. We
hilarious
got
because I was
sick of
saying,
it.
I want to hold Jenny's hand and Wayne's hand. So you jumped on my shoulder. See, you made me happy because I was like, I want to hold Jenny's hand too. You know,
Ah,
well, I'll bring in my fractal to do it. And then you're saying that you jumped on my shoulders. See, this is how this works, and it's beautiful.
The frog leap on. You just
Yeah,
went. You just said, "I'm down." I was like, "Yeah, I'm
yeah.
coming."
And then get on.
I jumped on. You let Wayne get on with his. It was like, but Scotty boy needs more moisturizer, like me. Always felt like
I knew this was
sandpaper.
coming, and this is what I love,
Didn't
because
let you initially hit my hands up, Gaia. You just knew you were on it there too. Just saying, "Oh, I've got you, girls. You just go that way. I'll do this
And
way."
did
It was so beautiful, and it was
Did
fun.
anybody see? Because I saw us in a circle. Did any of you see us in a
yeah,
circle? And then
For a
also,
while.
yeah, and when the energy started getting really powerful, I said, why don't we create an energy ball of potential that we can use to heal and facilitate the world at any time we need to? And I literally saw this beautiful energy ball created in the center of the circle. And then I was just bathing it with gratitude and sealing it with protection, mirrors, and love and saying thank you and use this for only best and highest good to support all.
And I've
And
got to,
that was it.
sorry, I've got to say it. I mean, I had a ball with my sister, but there was, I'm seeing people now, and it's like mission control. You made me giggle. Uh, I grabbed the wrong part of you in my mind, and I don't know why. Freudian hand grip, but yeah, you were exciting. You were there was but so thank you for exchanging energies there because it was nice. It was nice touching you all and being with you all. But Ginger was on fire. Like, go girl. You were just you were throwing out that energy there. Ooh-wee.
She was to the left of me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. I couldn't tell which side was which, to be honest, because that was
You were
beautiful.
jumping on Trina's shoulders. I mean, how
I
would
was
you
Freaking
know?
awesome. When I was saying, "Oh, I want to hold Jenny's hand and Wayne's hand," I was like, I want to have both. I was like, oh, okay, I got to make this
Uh,
work in my mind for me, and I'm going to make this work now. I'm going to call in a fractal. Yeah, so I made my own idea, and Jenny created
at
her own
all.
idea because she felt my consciousness going, wait a minute. Hey, come here.
well, what I was seeing when I was talking and we were coalescing this energy, it was like a toroidal field, and it
Yeah,
was,
Yes,
it was
yes,
it was
yes,
infinite. Yeah, I mean, and then as I said, I actually saw the earth, and
yes, uh-huh,
it's I think it adds to it. And if others would do this on
yes,
their channels, you
yes.
know, um,
And it's just so fun. And then you can grab this moment. Like you could listen to this video over and over again. And every single time you could go into that space and you can create new stuff.
yeah.
And you can build to the consciousness. And it's so beautiful because in that moment we were all connecting. And we were all focusing on peace
Mm.
and gratitude and good things and healing and nature and forest and beautiful things and lakes and you'd see messages and then projecting those images into the world. And you even used a mirror, Wayne. That's so brilliant. See what I mean? And we're all doing these parts, and our own magic is adding to it because there's nobody like you. You're so unique.
Yeah.
And that little piece, all those different parts of all of our unique differences is the power of these moments. But once you anchor that energy and you experience it, it's like I was always told, nothing's real until you can feel it.
Brian was there. I just heard that rascal.
Oh,
There were a lot of others that were there.
absolutely.
have you lost a
There
ball?
was there was the wow. I mean, there was
Lost,
that unification, and even if it was for the briefest of time,
Yes.
we did it. We actually, and if we can do it for 10, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 17 seconds,
Yeah.
think about it during the day.
or look at the consciousness observer video and do it for the exact amount of seconds to get loads of feedback of magnetic
Yes.
energy
That's what
right
I'm
on the
talking about.
channel.
Yes.
That one would do very nice.
Jenny, how long is that? How long
So
is that, Jenny?
intervals of 16 or 17 seconds over four times at least in the day, you create
Oh, yeah.
a tangible result in the double slit experiment theory, which is what you were saying, is to be perceived, is to be believed, is be perceived, observed becomes
Yes, yes,
real. There's parts of ourselves don't become reality to us in our own knowing until they're reflected back at us by an enemy or loved one. So that mirror of perception unearths more of you too. So when it all comes from self-exploration, it comes from a state of not putting your eggs in any one basket, but allowing yourself to be perceived by all in order to reignite or re-enlight all fractals of self possible here. And you only do that in communion here. You can't perceive yourself from all directions. You can't even do that with a mirror. You can't do that with a phone. You can't get that angle that from a physical point of view. So from a fractal point of view of all parts of self, it's impossible. It's important for us to be perceived. Um, and this is where telepathy and honesty can grow for sure in that space. But it's a coil that we've created, very much a coil, an
I'm
infinite
seeing
coil down.
in mine, it's this lake. And I can see
Yeah.
on the other side, but it's like a mile across. I can't, but I can see that there are people.
You know what's interesting too? Speaking of messages in the sky, this week in Phoenix, there was one of those planes, and it made the message on the skies. And I mean, it's the way they do it's amazing. It was perfectly crystal clear, and it said, "Read between the lines."
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
What's the card, Jenny?
Oh, it's judgment card. I didn't know it was on the bottom. I said when you said that, I said judgment card, and I lifted up the deck, and it was there. So the judgment card, you see, there's a river between these people, and there's actually people on the other side. They resonate into the frequency. The angels just to depict the frequency, basically the calling, and it's that inner calling because you can rise from the watery tomb with the river in between. It's the river of Styx to the frequency that you've woken up in self, and you do it in your raw, true intent without any clothes, like we went into the forest without any clothes, labels, things that would cause any division. So you communicating through frequency, which is a much more pure state to communicate in, if you ask me, in the state of society today. So it's very clever that you've called the card again, Wayne. It was on the bottom of the deck, alongside the magician. So that's
Yeah.
got a river in the middle of it, and it's what you're describing, I
Yeah.
think.
And in
What is
fact,
a river? A river is currency.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
yes, it's the true energy of reality. If we could learn how to utilize it, this is literally how it works. You got to build. They say build your treasures in heaven, not upon the earth. Yeah, that's why, because they understand. Yeah, those are the rivers. The currency that we utilize is through the flow of the waters, which is the flow of emotion. Nothing's real until you feel it. So when we feel it, we are going to create it. So feel well.
yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Feel well like
Well,
that.
those of you who have experienced that, let us know. Yeah.
Mhm.
And those of you watching on replay, thank you. We appreciate that.
Mhm.
Um, Join us, and
Ah,
by doing that, just leave us a comment in the bottom
yeah.
and
Say I
let us,
joined the circle.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is what this group does. I mean, once we get focused into intent, we can manifest.
Yeah, I think that's why we came here. Was because we wouldn't follow the descriptions of what's going on for us, and we would be like looking at things going, wait a minute. Even if it wasn't so miserable, we would still look at it and go, I wonder if I could do better, you know?
Hmm.
And it really, that's, I think, a drive for most of us is how can we do better? How can we be better? Who am I and what are my gifts and talents? And how can I unlock and explore more of what it even means to be me? We've been
Yeah,
into all these programs that we're supposed to do this and be this and, da, 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 da. We don't ever get to even look at what we really even are. And I think this is the greatest gift of this time is going to be, who am I? And through that process of who am I, you're going to open up to so much more of yourself that you never even knew existed. And I think that's because this beautiful window of transition will be able to unlock the DNA that was not allowed to be unlocked until now. So unlock your powers, y'all.
And before we leave, this is for Jules. You'll see here as nature's intentions. So we just speak
Love
to that
to
cyclone, that hurricane. I know y'all don't call them that down there, but
say peace be with
yeah,
you.
we'll just rebuke that thing and push it right
See you
back
over
into the
there.
ocean, you know?
You
Uh,
spirit you.
as we
Oh,
speak, there's a steering current coming out of the atmosphere, and so Jules, we're right there with you, darling. We'll see
And
it
I'm
going
not
out there.
above beyond saying that, Jules, you're one of us. So on top of that, we put a bubble over your house in particular so that you
Yeah,
can be that one that says, oh, well, I've just got protection. Why? Because as
absolutely.
so,
yeah.
we just fill your house with all of our spirits, like sage fills a room, and instead of fighting something, we just push it out. We just push it out with the smoke that we set off in your home with absolute love. So
Yeah, we
sending
just
that to
speak to it and say, "Hey, we got favor." You know,
pitch
Yes.
day.
just
And I
go
call
out there,
for
there to the
toxic.
ocean. You'll live longer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cross
Yes. Yes.
over there.
yeah. Just go
Yes.
out that way. You know.
Shoot, Mike. Don't
Well,
bother
hello,
me.
Courtney Mac. Good to see you, darling, and Nina, and everybody else, Gender. Yeah. So we appreciate all of you. Ladies, you got anything to say as we're it's like the show now is, 70, 80 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
soon to
so I
grow.
in this space that we're building where we're able to discuss what we need to discuss, bring light to the observations that we have, but are going to these spaces where we're going to that actually it doesn't it feel like this show has had much longer to get much more in. So I think that speaks to the physical lives, and as a reminder, as an intuitive, my guidance would be for the energies of this week is to take that as an example for when you're feeling rushed, when you're feeling like you're being pushed and shoved in every different direction of opinion, whether it's within your own inner dialogue or the outer dialogues around you. Taking time actually extends time. We've done so much today in connection in the spirit, but we've also discussed so much as well. We've covered everything we needed to, yet we've still done that with space and time to laugh, breathe, send blessings to one another, and be. So when you're saying, I haven't got time this week, you can make that time. You can stop the physical time. It goes much slower when you're in that spiritual space. So do take time for self. Do say I can actually extend how much work time I have by extending how much time I have in my organic space and finding where that is. So that would be my guidance for this week.
Far out. Thank you, love.
Mine, mine is so sweet and simple, and it would be from Brian. And imagine his voice. Be the frequency you wish to receive.
There
I
you
love
go.
you all.
All right.
Love
And
you all.
that is far out. Love you, gals. Thank you, everyone. We love you too. And we'll see each other again soon. Maybe tomorrow, but definitely next Tuesday.